right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's 7 o'clock, so we're going to get underway on time. My name is Samantha Johnson. I am talking to you from my office at the Roselle Public Library. If you're watching live, we will have Q&A opportunities all throughout the slideshow. You can just drop your questions as they come up into the Q&A tab on the Zoom control panel. I'll get to them at the end. If you're watching the recording after the fact, you can get in contact with us via the contact form on our website. You can find my contact information on our website as well. And without further ado, we're going to get moving. So we're here tonight to talk about the building referendum we have coming up on the November 5th ballot. If you don't already know, what I want you to know is that the Roselle Public Library works really hard every day to be a friendly and comfortable place for the entire community. We're a place where everyone, many different people come together to learn and share interests and experience new things together. We're really proud to be a place full of books and to be a place of learning and literacy, but we are more than books, and more and more every year, especially over these last few years, we're growing into more of a community center for everyone, and we want to be able to do that even more in the future. One thing we're particularly proud of here is our staff, and we know that our community is also proud that our hometown library is full of really friendly, helpful, and knowledgeable staff. All of us, we go out of our way to learn the community, to give personalized support to everyone who comes through our doors. And it's a level of service you can only get in a small town. Roselle has about 23,000 residents, which isn't that small, but it's really not that big either. And that's what it feels like at the library. We see people on a daily basis sometimes, and we get to know them throughout the entire course of their lives and the time they're living here in the community. The board would also want me to point out that they are very proud of their role as financial stewards of an important institution for the community. We're one of the more fiscally conservative districts in the region, and we're always finding ways to do more with less. I have a couple graphs here for you. On the left, total operating expenditures per person. We have a sampling of nearby libraries, some that are next door and some that are a town or two away. Roselle Library District is on the far right over here, behind Poplar Creek and Schaumburg Township as far as total operating expenditures per person. But on the right side, we looked into how many programs we put on per 1,000 people in the community, and we found that we were on the opposite end, where we had more than others. I really can't account for Itasca, but I want to know what their secret is. We also wanted to point out that our tax rate is in the bottom half of comparable libraries, and we've operated bond debt-free since 1994. However, the reality is that our aging facilities are keeping our library from being the inviting community space it could be. We opened the building on June 21, 1982. And since then, the community has grown and changed, and our outdated building and lack of space restricts the library's ability to provide many of the programs our residents are requesting. And we often have to limit our registration sometimes because fire code prevents us from going bigger, especially if we have to have tables and chairs for activities and crafts. And we do sometimes have to turn people away at the door because our programs are already full and we don't have any spare space to let people join. The facility needs renovations and repairs to the infrastructure and the mechanical systems that keep us going. We need more quiet areas, study spaces and meeting spaces, as well as outdoor spaces, which are limited. On the right-hand side, this is a photo of our beloved original air handling unit 1, which takes care of most of the building. On the bottom, we're aware of and monitoring quite a few growing numbers of cracks that cut from top to bottom on more specifically the north side of the building, but also throughout. And then on the bottom is a shot of one of our 3 individual study rooms, and it's really just what you see is what you get kind of experience with that. A pain point we deal with all the time and hear about regularly is that our parking lot is across the street. It creates inconvenience, accessibility, and safety concerns for the people who visit us of all ages. We don't have a drive-up window. We really, with the way our building is laid out and the streets are oriented around us, we really don't have the opportunity today to do that. And we also don't have access to technology available in many of the surrounding libraries. We don't have a maker space. We don't have an automated materials handling machine. We're limited in our computers and how we can have everything laid out in the facility. We would like to improve that. So over the last year, we've worked really hard to engage with the community, to invite people to join us through coffees with the board, chats with the board, focus groups. We've had, especially in the spring, we added more input sessions to talk about this plan. We're going to go into more detail in a few minutes. I think we would also consider the referendum we attempted in 2023 as a really important listening session where we came close, but didn't quite hit the mark. We lost that referendum by 22 votes. So we still know that there's interest in a library, but that we needed to work more on that project. So that's what we did. We came back to the community and asked for a lot more feedback so that we could have a community-driven consensus plan. Through that process, we identified that the most fiscally responsible path forward is to build a new building. We looked into option one, which was just addressing the most urgent infrastructure needs and building a small addition wherever we could, and estimated that would be about a $10 million project. Then we looked into what it would cost to essentially gut this building to studs, leave the skeleton up, and then figure it out from within. And that would still be around at least a $20 million investment. On the other hand, we looked back into what it would cost to build a new building, specifically a new building on another site, which we'll talk about on the next slide. And that estimate came still around $22 million. So that is the most responsible long-term solution in front of us. And one thing that all three of these options have in common is that the library districts, no matter what, has to go to the voters to ask for the funding to achieve A, B, or C. So a new opportunity has come to the library, and as we asked the residents earlier this calendar year, what they thought about that when it first came back to the table, we found a lot of support. We spoke to neighbors of the area, people who came to our input sessions, and overwhelmingly, it was a very supportive. The feedback was very supportive, and the interest was very high. This would be possible thanks to a land swap opportunity with the village. This location specifically is at 233 East Maple Avenue. It's the current location of the former Trinity Community Center. It's just a few blocks away from the library today. It would lead to a much larger footprint for the library. If we ever had to expand, I don't know if the community will ever significantly increase, but if it did, we would have a lot more flexibility in the future to meet the needs of that future larger community if it ever comes to be. Relocating would also allow us to build the new building while our current building was under construction. We build our new building without disrupting services to the day-to-day at the current facility. When during our last referendum, that was one of the more common questions. And frankly, it was quite surprising. I wasn't prepared for it. A lot of people asked, well, what are you going to do? How am I going to get library services while this project is underway? So this at least would take care of that entirely. We would not have any service disruptions. We would not have to set up alternate sites for the library to keep going. So the community's plan involves bringing to the November 5th ballot a question asking for a $22 million referendum that would allow us to build a new library that everyone in the community can enjoy for decades to come, long term, provide the community dedicated youth, technology, and meeting spaces they've been asking for, and increase spaces for programs that our residents are requesting, and to grow our programs as they are today. Building a new fully accessible library resolves our current major infrastructure and mechanical needs. We have issues regularly with our boilers. In the top picture, that's boiler 1 and 2 down in our basement. And they're always giving us some challenges. On the bottom is just a quick shot of a leak we had a few years ago. We have some on quite a lot of our exterior facade masonry, we have some issues where some parts weren't built the way they should have. And so we do have on the regular water infiltration problems. This is what it looks like when water leaks in slowly and then trashes the soffit of our ceiling, which is unfortunately right over books, and that's books and water don't really mix. Other things that are on the top of our mind, modernizing our security system, replacing our roof and elevator that are coming due soon, heating and cooling always, windows and doors, just like any house, they need to be replaced. Electrical is original, plumbing, a lot of the plumbing is still original, our networking and facade all need work. A new facility resolves these and improves our operational efficiency, and it gives our community a safer and updated library. On the bottom, this is a photograph of a nearby library's drive-up service window. Um, this would change a lot of our service. It would add more convenience and give us a new way to interact with patrons who still want to come to the library but just don't have the time to get out, unload their family, and walk into the library to take care of their library business. It's a quick add-on to a library that has the space to do the drive-up lane, which we don't today. It's the kind of space, maybe you experience this with the bank, where you can pull up and interact with someone on the other side of the window, pick up your items on hold, ask for something specifically, talk to a library staff member about your patron account, or if you just want to return your book, there's a slot there for you to drive through and pop it in on your way. The new building would have improved dedicated youth technology and meeting spaces, like I've said. Up top is a quick rendering of the proposed youth floor, and then on the bottom is a rendering of the proposed teen room. The plan emphasizes spaces specifically designed for kids and families, including hands-on interactive spaces for preschool children to explore, play, and be creative in a safe environment, as well as a teen room where young adults can study and socialize in a space of their own entirely. It also includes STEM spaces with improved access to technology, things like 3D printers, woodworking tools, crafting materials, but also things that used to be in homes, like sewing machines that are no longer, and whatever technology comes down the road. This would all be in there, and it would be customized to meet the community's interests and needs. And it also includes additional and larger meeting spaces to meet high demand from community organizations looking for meeting space. I don't know if you know this, but Roselle has a really strong volunteer culture. And every year there are new organizations and organizations needing spaces all year round to meet, to conduct their business, plan their fundraisers, plan their initiatives. And the library, we want to host more of them, but we do often come into conflict with our regular schedule of programs and the times they need to meet. And a reminder, if you have any questions, just pop them in the Q&A tab and I'll get to them at the end. So the new library would also allow us to significantly increase programming for our community. Like I've said, we would be able to have more meeting spaces, larger spaces for programming activities, space for more storage, which my staff would say is just never enough. There's never enough storage. No longer will we have to turn away residents, ideally, who want to participate in our current programs. We could add programs that our community has been requesting for years. I've spoken to parents who want to see more STEM opportunities in the library, and we do our best, but having a concentrated, dedicated space with a variety of technology, engineering, mathematics, things like that, opportunities, that would change everything for us. Building a new neighborhood library would benefit everyone. That's the point, is for this to be a space for everyone, a free space for everyone, families, kids, seniors, community groups, to gather, socialize, and learn, be part of the community. These spaces would be specifically designed for each age group's unique needs. Community organizations would have spaces and technology to conduct their meetings. Our meeting spaces would be tailored and equipped for pretty much just plug and play. If you needed to use the technology to do a slideshow, if you're working remotely, you could rent a space and connect to your team wherever they are and work from there. And with the library building our community can be proud of, the point of this would be, if with investment in a new library, that investment would pay out to the residents of the community via increased property values and more demand and interest in living in the village of Roselle. So the project, the advantages of this project: a new modern library campus over on Maple Avenue, a safer and updated modern library with infrastructure and mechanicals suited to today. Additional quiet areas and study spaces for library patrons for whatever they needed those spaces for, working remotely, studying for college entry exams, studying for high school projects, group study or group work. Additional and larger meeting spaces for community organizations, additional and larger spaces for programming activities, dedicated spaces on library grounds for outdoor programming for all ages. We don't have the best weather all year, but when we do have nice weather here in Illinois, we really enjoy being outside, and so do we. The same is true with our programming. We like to be able to take advantage of nice weather and do things outdoors. Expanded and improved parking lot directly attached to the library. That would make things accessibility and safety less of a concern. New drive-through lane and drive-up window for patrons' convenience, a new way to serve our community. Dedicated STEM spaces with improved access to technology. Dedicated spaces for children of all ages, including a teen room. Dedicated spaces for adults and seniors, and investments in renewable energy to sustainably power the library as much as we possibly could. The project itself is estimated to cost around $22 million. The approximate tax impact for a $300,000 home is about $179 a year. This is a QR code that you can take right now to go right to our tax calculator on our website. And we're also going to pop a link into the chat if you'd like to check it out that way. I'm going to move into the renderings portion, and I'm probably going to go through these quickly just so there's enough time for Q&A. But this is a bird's eye view of the new site. Again, it's on Maple Avenue, just about at the intersection of Howard and Maple. The parking lot is on the south side, and you can see it attaches. It abuts the Parkside Park owned by the Park District. You can see the outline of the Miracle Field ball field right next door. You can see the attached parking, the green space for patio space. A lot of great stuff all in one location. On the left side, we're going to focus on the first floor first. You can see the general floor plan where much of the right side of the first floor is the youth department. On the left side is vending and connecting outdoor patio space, book sale, lobby, checkout area. Then on the back end, we have all of our main meeting spaces all in a row. So a large meeting space that can be broken down into 1, 2, 3 rooms, makerspace right in the middle, and the youth programming room right next door. Moving on to the view inside, you can see the view walking into the lobby. And on the bottom, you can see to the left of the entry what that cafe, vending area, outdoor patio space might look like with a connected book sale space. We were supported by a really awesome Friends of the Library, and they've been really limited in the kind of ongoing book sale room they have. And if they could really expand their popular book sale area, that would be such a benefit to folks who wanted to come in and just buy a gently used book and didn't want to wait till their semi-annual book sale. To the right side, you can see the colorful youth entry, and walking in the first bottom corner area is the preschool space for the younger children. Toward the middle is designed for school-aged children, and then in the back is a more mature area for middle school. This is a view inside the youth programming area next door to the youth study room that can be for tutoring groups or school groups. These are a couple different renderings and views of what could be going on in the library at any given time. On the top right corner, you can see how we have the large meeting space broken down into 3 rooms where there can be like a conference style meeting next door to a craft or cooking demonstration where we have a group of people facing the demonstration area. And then next to that could be like a reading circle, knitting circle kind of program. Next to the makerspace, which would always, it could be drop-in or it could be a focused program with a leader. Next to the youth program room, which could be a story time, it could be crafts or something like that. Or maybe on the bottom left corner, we might want a larger audience style meeting where there's many chairs facing the presenter discussion whatever we would need to use it for. And then this is a view of what that smaller meeting room broken down could look like in the conference style meeting. And then on the bottom right, another view of that larger audience hall style meeting or presentation. This is a view inside the makerspace where you can see there's like a vinyl printer or a larger printer for poster size prints, different tools, benches or stools, and high seating for all kinds of projects going on at the same time. And it would be a space for all ages. We've heard people ask questions based on what their children's maker spaces at their schools are like and how they operate. And we would design this to be usable by people of all ages. It would be for the entire community, not just kids. I'm going to move on to the second floor, and you can see on the right-hand side, it involves the adult collection for adults and seniors, some staff spaces, and the teen room. On the bottom left, this is a view of what you might see when you walk up the stairs or come out the elevator, where there's a seating area connected to an indoor-outdoor fireplace, which connects you to that balcony overlooking, this would be the east side of the building, overlooking the outdoor area and the green space of the Parkside Park and, you know, the rest of the village just to the east of us. A really nice view. I've mentioned our study spaces a few times. We've really seen the need for these grow, especially post-COVID, when more people continue to work from home or study from home. On the top left, this is a cutout of what various group sizes could use these different rooms for, from a larger group to smaller groups to even solo use. And each of them is equipped with, we've got higher technology like screens and some lower technology like this is just a giant dry erase board that you might want to use for your work or with your study group or your project group. And then you can see on the bottom left and bottom and top right, another view just, peeking into these. On the other side, we'll want some nice window seating and quieter space, spots where you could set up camp and read the newspaper or do your work with your laptop or read something that you found in the library just from browsing and enjoy a really nice view of Maple Avenue. This would be on the north side of the building based on the floor plan today. This is a look into the teen room where you can see a variety of seating, computers, some gaming station, and shelving for books and other materials within the building. The main teen collection is actually outside of the space so that anyone of all ages could access it without having to go into the teen room itself. This is a view of the south elevation, what you might see walking up, where you can see the drop-off area, the entry, the patio, the green space, spaces for bike parking, hopefully some EV chargers for those who drive those types of vehicles. So those are the renderings I have. We have more renderings actually on our website, and you can check those out anytime. As far as what's going to be on the ballot on November 5th, this is the question and how it reads. It says, shall the Roselle Public Library District, DuPage and Cook Counties, Illinois, erect a library building with dedicated youth space, programming space, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics space, meeting and study rooms, furnish necessary equipment for, and construct site improvements to the new library building, including a drive-up window, and issue its bonds to the amount of $22 million for the purpose of paying the cost thereof. So that's usually, it's going to be on the bottom of somewhere on the bottom of the ballot. Just keep that in mind when you go to vote. Other important dates. So tonight is our first informational session. This is our only virtual session. The rest will be in person. We have a joint session next Tuesday, actually, at Village Hall. That's important. It's going to be at Village Hall, not at the library. We're going to meet together with the village board, talk together, and answer questions to the audience. Then the first session at Roselle Public Library will be Saturday, September 21st, and then the last one will be Monday, October 7th. And if you can't make any of those, or if you're part of a group or organization and you want someone from the library to come out and share this presentation or share more information generally about our referendum and the project, we would be happy to be part of that as long as we were available. So please just reach out and let us know when you're meeting and where we should be. Otherwise, we have some voter information here, and we have more voter information on our website as well. You can scan the QR code to learn more about how to participate in the election. If you generally vote by mail or plan to request a vote by mail ballot, now is the time. If you generally in-person vote, on September 26th is when temporary sites open, and then the permanent sites open on October 21st. And if you generally vote on election day, and if you typically would come to the library to do that, if you were one of the precincts typically reporting to where we vote here, to the in-person voting at the library, that will actually be moved this election. The DuPage Election Commission has moved all the day of voting for those precincts over actually to 233 East Maple Avenue. They're going to use that site both for early voting and day of voting. So if you generally vote, if you typically expect to come to the library to vote, it's moved this time. You'll be going over to Maple Avenue. All right, so that's my presentation. Thank you so much for tuning in or watching this recording. I hope you stay involved. If you want to come to any of our information sessions, it'll be very similar to this, but it'll be someone in person. And if you have more questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Anytime you want, you can visit our website for more information at www.rosellepld.org. And once again, thank you for your time. Now, if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to take them. You just have to pop them into the Q&A tab. And I'll wait for a few more minutes, and if no one has any questions, I'll close it down. I'm going to answer, so I have a question from someone who says they live in Cook County, Roselle. Their library is the Schaumburg Library. If this new library is approved, it wouldn't affect my taxes, would it? I believe not. As long as you're paying into the Schaumburg Library District, you are not paying any taxes to the Roselle District. You won't see our our referendum on your ballot, so there would not be any impact to you. I have a question. What are the plans for the current library site? That's a great question. We have the library board and the village board, they have approved an IGA that sets forth the timing of the swap. They don't have a concrete plan for what happens if we pass the referendum and move. But what they have said they will do is they'll start exploring a broader plan. They like to get people together from the community and study an area. And so what they will do is they'll work with the community on what the next best iteration of this property would be. And I think when we meet together with the village board next Tuesday, the 17th, they'll have some more information on what that process might look like, what they, maybe in a very early manner, envision for how they'll, what the final product might be, what it might not be. That's as far as I can say for what their plans would be. Oh, yeah. How will the new library be staffed? We intend to staff it much the same as it is today. We have about 31 staff. We don't have enough workspaces for all the staff, so we would like to at least have a workspace for everyone who works here. Some people share and some people just don't have any workspace of their own. But generally, we don't plan to expand staffing because we're not planning on asking for an operating budget increase. This is just a building bond. We plan to lay out the floor so that there's really good sight lines from all of our service desks. that's a security issue. We want to be able to have eyes around the floor. Other than that, it'll be staffed very much the same. I have a question next from Camille. How much was the design changed? If you're asking from 2023, quite a bit on the outside, as you can see. But since we first, what was our first meeting in April? We have changed the details of the in the youth floor a little bit. We have changed, added more study spaces. Let's see, we've made the meeting room on the first floor larger. I think the balcony is a little bit wider. That's all I can remember, but we can, if you want to talk to me more, we can talk about that after. Homes in Roselle are worth significantly more than $300,000. That is not a fair estimate. That's true. There are homes that are higher than 300,000, and there are homes that are lower than 300,000. We pulled data from the Census Bureau that identified the median home value as actually $267,000 in Roselle. And because the 2023 EAV was quite a bit higher than the 2022 EAV, we actually went with a 300,000 level to give everyone a better idea of sort of that middle home or the median home. Question from the same person: how long will residents be paying the higher tax rate to pay for the $23 million library? It's a $22 million project. Will the referendum have an end date for those? That's a great question, Kim. It's a 20-year bond that, as a library district, we cannot issue bonds longer than that. So it's 20 years. So if we pass in 2024, we would be able to issue bonds in 2025. And from that point, it would be paid off in 20 years. More programs, but not enough digital spots for audio and digital books. That's a good point. We're beholden to contracts with the companies that own the rights to all the books that are available in audio and ebook form. And some of them actually expire after X number of uses. So it is a constant struggle, yes, to have enough of our copies of our digital books and audiobooks. And we do try to keep up with that demand, but it is very expensive. I know some libraries are actually to the point where they're budgeting more for e-content than they are for the actual physical books. But that's why we like to have a really good variety of copies on hand, on shelf, as well as in Libby or on Hoopla or Access 360. Yeah, we always try to meet demand, but it's not always possible. And sometimes it's because of the publishers not really working with us and not really wanting to make their content as available as we would like to have them to meet demand. Yes, yeah, she also said that she's waited 6 months for an audiobook. I have too, and I feel your pain. The library says the current facility needs repairs costing millions. Why have repairs not been budgeted for and addressed on a regular basis? They have been budgeted for over time. We haven't been able to accumulate as much in savings as we would like to have over the years. We're careful with our spending, and the board is always trying to put extra dollars away for these capital needs. But unfortunately, they're more than we can really take care of with just our operating budget. We have it's called a capital asset replacement tool, where we have everything in a spreadsheet based on what we know about their age and their current, not their current status, but their condition. And we try to factor in what's coming, and we try to make improvements, small improvements and affordable improvements as much as possible to defer things until we have more funds to do the big projects. So we're doing what we can, trying to be careful with our funds. Question from Ashley. Who is the architect? The architect is, the firm is called Product Architecture and Design. They actually, they really specialize in public libraries, which makes them quite a unique firm. We had worked with them with the last plan and went back to them to modify this plan based on all of our feedback over the last year or so. And if you wanted to see their work close to home, they have done the work at Carroll Stream Library a few years ago, and they're the architects on the soon to be opened second floor of Schaumburg Library in their main building. Question, any changes to size, square footage, and spaces offered? For this one, so overall size, as far as our last referendum, it's still basically the same square footage. The size of the building is very different from the last one because we're not needing to build a basement. So it's just 2 floors, not 3 floors. Everything is above ground. Spaces offered, overall, they're larger. Both floors are about 16,000 square feet. And in the last project, it was going to be about 10,000 square feet per floor. And just by tacking on the extra 6,000 square feet, we were able to expand both floors quite a bit. Well, obviously with more square footage, but just the way that the spaces are able to be rounded out with that extra room. In the youth department specifically, we were able to fit in dedicated study and group spaces. On the floor plan, there are spaces toward the bottom where there's a nursing room and there is a a smaller study room, and then on the other side is the larger group study room. And we were also able to, something we weren't able to do in the last project is connect all of the staff space to each department. So we had most of the staff space in department by necessity, in the basement by necessity. But by moving everything above ground, we have the youth staff connected to the youth department, the adult and teen staff connected to the adult and teen department. So that would be a big improvement in terms of how staff can work with each other and serve those populations. Any more questions? Thank you from Betty. You're so welcome. Okay. Again, if you think of any questions later, I'm happy to have them come in by email. We're always available on the phone. Contact information is on our website. And with that, if there's no more questions coming in, I am going to thank everyone for participating. And I hope to see you at an upcoming event. If you'd like to if you'd like to participate in one of the live info sessions we have coming up. We'll also be out in the community all fall. We have trunk or treats coming up. We'll be at Founders Day. We have a lot of programs planned for the fall season, including right before Election Day will also be our annual Model Railroad Showcase, where a lot of the train enthusiasts come out and have a really fun weekend celebrating model trains and enjoying the library. So with that, I'm going to end it for the evening. Thank you again for all your time, and just keep going to our library to our website if you have more questions, or again, feel free to reach out to me for anything else. Thanks.